Hello and welcome to another episode of Crypto Charts. I'm Fausto Botelho, broadcasting from Brazil, and here we use our experience in technical analysis and try to extract logical indications about the future behavior of the crypto prices. Nowadays we've also been talking about the S&P stock index because we think there's going to be a very close interaction between what's going to happen with the S&P and the crypto space. Basically, we think the S&P is about to lose 1/3 of its value, and that a small part of the money invested in stocks nowadays, which is worldwide $100 trillion, would eventually land in the crypto space. And if that happens, considering that we have a value of $132 billion, if half percent of 1 billion of 1 trillion of 100 trillion, sorry, it's 500 billion. So if only half of 1% of the money in stocks comes to crypto nowadays, the crypto space would explode, and I think that's probably going to happen. But today, even though we talk about technical analysis, I want to talk about some fundamental analysis. And that is because yesterday I was awake until 1 o'clock in the eve. Today, actually, 1 o'clock, I was listening to the interview that my colleague Ivan from the channel Ivan on Tech was making with CZ, Champagne Zhao, which is the CEO of Binance. And we have already recommended Binance coin because it broke its all-time high. And I think it has a huge potential to go up. I'm going to show you the charts. But what I heard from CZ yesterday, I've been listening to some rumors, but nothing like listening it to the source, right? And the most impressive thing that I heard is that Binance, which is Binance, if you don't know, is the 10th crypto coin nowadays. It's a utility coin based on Ethereum. It's an ERC20 token which runs on the Ethereum blockchain. But and with this coin, with Binance coin, that is traded in the BINANCE Exchange, you can pay for commissions. Actually, you can do a lot of things, but basically, if you pay the commissions that you have to pay in Binance, then you have a 25% discount. So everybody uses Binance coin to pay their commissions in BINANCE Exchange. But now, what is happening is that, well, first, Binance is launching a decentralized exchange. A decentralized exchange, as the name says, is not a centralized exchange. So there's not one central power commanding the exchange. Differently from Binance Exchange today, that is owned by CZ and his other partners, right? So you could ask, well, is he going to make an enterprise to compete with himself? Yes, he is. And in his interview yesterday, he said that if Apple hadn't competed with herself, producing better and better iPhones and different gadgets, they would probably not be where they are nowadays. So that's the first thing. But what impressed me the most was acknowledging that they are also launching a chain, which is a blockchain, which is going to be hosting other projects. And specifically, they are moving Binance coin from Ethereum to their own blockchain. One thing that is keen to think about is that they are going to be accepting new projects or old projects that, like themselves, want to change from Ethereum or other platforms like Neo, Tron, and others. They want to change to Binance Coin. And there is a wonderful incentive for them to change, because as whenever they are running in the Binance chain, it's going to be kind of less complicated for them to be listed in Binance Exchange. And my friends, to be listed, if you run a project, a crypto project, to be listed in Binance Exchange is, you get the jackpot. So CZ also said that they don't enter arguments whenever it concerns whoever they list in their exchange and whoever they delist. The question was asked because recently they have delisted many coins. One very interesting point was that they consider ethically, they consider they owe their loyalty to their customers and not to the people that run the coin that they're listing. So in that matter, they don't give advice to the people that they're delisting, because to be delisted from Binance means that the coin is going to drop a lot, and eventually, if they would advise the people that runs the project, it has happened in the past that people would dump the coin and then would harm the people that was investing in that coin. So they just release it for everybody, and that has people didn't like that. People that were in the projects didn't like that, and they criticize him, saying that he should have given some warnings. But the reason is that. So the most impressive thing for me is that Binance is in a path of success in considering the fundamental analysis. I think that's a bombastic fundamental new, and also the breaking of the all-time highs, another fantastic bombastic technical factor, right? I must state that I'm not connected with Binance by any means, except that I have my affiliate program. So there's a link down below. If you use this link to open an account in Binance, I'm going to be getting a small percentage of the commissions that you provide, that you pay in Binance Coin, with no there is no extra fee for whoever uses the link to open the account there. So it's the same for whoever opens the account, and I get to get a small percentage. So this is it. That said, let's take a look in the coins that we're been keeping an eye on, which are a bunch of them. Well, first of all, let me tell you about the S&P. That has no news at all. It keeps going up, but nowadays it's very close to this resistance level. The resistance that it's important because last time it touched that level, it fell 16%. Well, some would say, well, don't you think that's the beginning of a new upward long-term trend or medium-term trend? No, I don't. And that's because, as I've said many times here, I have many reasons to believe that this trend has reverted, and if it reverted, I should expect the market to reach at least the first Fibonacci correction level, which would mean from nowadays more or less a drop of 36%. And things like this V button here have happened in the past too. Well, okay, they have happened here, but that was in a bottom, right? That was in the bottom, it wasn't in a top. But I can show you in between, things like things that have happened in between. Take a look at that. Let me show it in green and a little larger here. This is something that happened. Well, that's well, yeah. That's well, that's the fall is 9/11, but then you have it here before 9/11. You have these on the fall here. So we have these two former examples to compare to what's happening nowadays. Okay, and we can easily see that these two other situations that happened in the fall of 2000 were even bigger than today's drop, pump, dump, and pump. Let's put it this way, to use our crypto terms, right? So it doesn't impress me at all. The other one is similar. I'm not going to lose our time here. So let's go to the cryptos that, so yes, I'm expecting the market to reverse exactly when it tests the resistance level. If it reverts, if it breaks the resistance line that we're going to draw here, which would be more or less like probably that. We're going to be looking at that probably in the hourly chart. Yeah, we're going to be taking a look at this. So if market reaches 2800 and then reverts and breaks the support line, I think we're heading to the Fibonacci correction level, 33% of drop that I told you. And I'm expecting nowadays that as Bitcoin is showing signs of strength, I think I think the odds are with the possibility that whenever the flight for quality happens, you know, a small squadron of the trillions of or billions of money that are going to be withdrawn from the risk market, from the stock markets, may land in the crypto area, and that we're going to see these market explode. So let's go to the cryptos that we're keeping an eye on, and here they are. Let me see if I'm showing them. Yes, I am. Turn off the lights here, too many lights, and here we go, everything in. So we're keeping an eye on Cardano. It broke this resistance line, and we're expecting it to go higher. We also, of course, take a look at it in the hourly chart, and you know, keep watching it to see whenever is the good time for us to enter the market. We're also taking a look at Dash because it broke this resistance line and is flagging up. I'm very confident that Dash is going to do a splash up. Let's see what would be the objective. Would probably be around here, 0.03. So yeah, that's 45%, 45 to 48% upward movement potential. We're also taking a look at Ethereum, but no, I don't trust too much the Ethereum chart, even though because we're very close to the stop here, so there's nothing to be done here. We're just taking a look because it's coin number 2, and we want to have a ready access to the chart. Icon. Well, Icon broke this resistance line, and then it broke this other resistance line, and it's apparently flagging up. And more than that, there's a button here. Okay, you can see there's a button here, which is the first trading day of Icon. It broke the support line. So these two buttons here were in the all-time high support, all-time low support. And the market broke these supports and went up. So it produced as a bear trap, and now it's flagging up or producing as a symmetrical triangle, wedge or whatever. So we're keeping an eye, and we keep an eye on the hourly chart, same thing. We're trying to monitor this battle here between the bulls and the bears to see whenever the bulls are going to take the lead on that and put the prices up. Now, Monero keeps telling us that we're right, because if you only look at Monero here, you might have thought, yeah, not anymore, because it's flagging down now, and it's conforming with what's happening because it broke the support line, and that's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bottoms support line. You could call it a line or a trend line, whatever. And it's accumulating below this line, this trending line. So we understand this is a continuation pattern that is going to throw the prices at least to the all-time low here, which would mean a fall of approximately 25%. So we're just watching it because we might make a call for a short position in Monero. Now NEO is, well, it broke this resistance line and is testing this top here, flagging up. But the point is EOS, which is NEO's competitor, is raising, and NEO is staying where it is, you know. So as we see that there's a competition between these two chains, we think EOS is winning the game. And if it wins the game, maybe NEO won't go up anymore. But anyway, we're taking a look at it. OMI's Go broke this resistance line, produced as and it is flagging up. Well, sorry. Well, first it broke this resistance line and it is flagging up. But before that, it broke the support line. And now we have to see whether we're seeing a pullback to this former support line that it's offering resistance, or if the market is going to break that and start going up. And if that happens, we're going to be seeing a bear trap here, which is one of the most important formations. It's not the most important, because the most important is the bull trap. Whenever a resistance is broken, then market re-enters it. But a bear trap, considering consider where it's happening, it is very, very important also, right? So back to the chart here. We're taking a look to see if this flag that we monitor in the hourly chart is going to provide us with a clue about bulls taking charge of the thing, and then we're probably going to be calling a long position on OMI's Go. Ontology is also flagging up, but we were about to make a call today, but you know, in technical analysis, my friends, there's those things that you must do whenever you have an indication, and there's those things that you shouldn't do in any case. One of the things you shouldn't do, you can't do, it's a sacrilege, is to buy in a resistance. You can't buy in a resistance. You have to wait until the market breaks this resistance. Eventually, you have to wait until it pulls back and provides you with a pivot, or it breaks and it provides you with an upward flag, and then you buy. No, in a resistance level, you should think of selling. While it's in a resistance level, you should be thinking on selling. Of course, you have to have indications that the market is not going to break that resistance level, right? So back to the chart here, we are also taking a big open eye in Ripple because of this symmetrical triangle. But, you know, Ripple doesn't seem to... I think we have some bad tick in Bitfinex today. I'm going to change that to Binance. That will be buying. And we also have a bad tick here. I asked my people to take it off, but not yet. What happened here? But it didn't happen yet. So I think the market is still in a accumulation that is going to continue the previous movement, and there's a lot to gain because the first movement was of 150%. So that's why we're keeping an eye on Ripple. Stellar gave us signs of life because it was drifting when testing this support level here, and it went out of the drift pattern, flagged up, and now it's testing this resistance line. Let's see if it provides us with something that gives us an opportunity to produce a call. And also we're taking a look in waves because we also understand this is a accumulation that is going to continue the previous movement. And that's it for what we're keeping an eye on. I'm going to show you the calls that we made so far. And a clue to you guys, we have just today made a long call in Litecoin. And that is because Litecoin made a first upward movement, a second upward movement. We think it's entering the wave 5. And so we think it is probably going to do another movement the size of this last one, which would take prices up to here, which would mean 35, 34, 35% of an upward movement. We are also with a call, we made a call in EOS. We're very pleased with that call because, let me put you in the hourly chart here, zoom out, and this is it. This is it. We made a call here. Let me show you when we made the call. We made the call after the market had broken this resistance line and produced us with this upward flag right over the symmetrical triangle that was happening just below the resistance line. So the market broke the symmetrical triangle and flagged up, and then it definitely went up, not only breaking the tops of the flag, but breaking the tops, but also breaking the tops, as you can see here, breaking the tops of the symmetrical triangle. So that's when we entered the market, and then we have our method of raising our stops. So we're raised as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're in stop number 8 now. This was our objective. Our stop is very tightened already, and the market insists in not stopping our position. So we keep on profiting in, bucketing in, pocketing in, and that is a very successful trade because so far we've made, from where we entered to now, 28% gain. We also recommended Binance Coin, and Binance, why don't we have, Binance was yesterday, well, I don't think, let me just see if we changed the stop. No, we didn't change the stop, so we're in this first stop here, but what I wanted to show you is that this is the all-time high, and that's what happened. Binance was flagging up or produced as this pennant or symmetrical triangle, whatever, in its all-time high top, and then it broke up. And today, apparently, it's confirming that the market broke that. So, what are the objectives? First one is that we project this last upward movement upwards from the bottom here, and that takes us to 0.0036, which would mean an upward movement of another 30%. But we also have another projection, which would be this projection here. this last upward movement, and I think this upward movement, after all these accumulation, the market has everything to put this upward movement above it, right? So let me grab something here, this guy here, and I was just thinking now that there's another objective to be projected, which would be the height. The height. I never know how to say height. And so that would project the height of this accumulation upwards from its top, and that would mean from now an upward movement of 94%. But we also, as I told you, have this upward movement here, which would be kind of a wave 3. Wave 1, 2, 3. I think that's an accumulation. That's not a movement. That couldn't be considered as wave 5. So we got wave 1, 2, 3, 4, a long wave 4, and now we would go to wave 5 beginning here, and that's what's being drawn here, and that would give us an objective from today's price of 460%. So considering the what I've said about the fundamental facts of Binance, I think that's quite possible, especially if some of the stock money comes into the crypto space. And of course, we've also recommended, as you know, I've been bullish in Bitcoin. It's been a while already, and since the market was drifting down here, and saw that as an upward flag, and I'm also seeing that as an upward flag. The objective would be, well, if having broken this resistance line, I can consider that as being a inverted head and shoulders, and the projection is 5,600, which I think we're going to be reaching very, very soon. And Litecoin, which is the first one that I already mentioned. So I thank you. That's it. I thank you very much for watching the video until now. If you want to help the channel, I don't have many penetration in the international market, so if you spread that out in your social media, I will appreciate very much. Give us a thumbs up if you like the content, and I'll see you next time. Ciao!